Hello, everybody. Let's start the chapter number 2 from the book Flamingo, Class 12. As I have informed earlier, that I will be dealing with the chapter 2 of Flamingo book for Class 12. The chapter 2 is Lost Spring by Annie Jung. In brief, I would like to introduce with a story that in this the author is dealing with a boy who is a rag picker in his neighborhood. So he always observed that he is busy in rag picking, finding something for his daily use, or for everyday's livelihood. That boy is not wearing the shoes, is barefooted, and not going to school. That make a question in the mind of author, that why that boy is not going to school and not wearing the shoes, or instead of going to school, why they are doing the rag pickings, or whether they are interested, and so on. So the whole chapter deals with a boy. It shows the poverty level. It shows the that little boy anxiousness to study. As we proceed, we will understand how this lost spring, which denotes the stolen childhood, is matching to the title of the chapter. Okay, now let's start. I hope that this will sorry for my camera, it became blur, so I hope this will help you out. Okay, now let's start. Please write down, I will dictate some points. You write down as note 1, note 2, and it will help you out in solving the question answer. Okay, sometimes I find a rupee in the garbage. Why do you do this? This question is being asked by the author. I ask Sahib, whom I encounter every morning, scrounging for gold in the garbage dumps of my neighborhood. Scrounging means finding something, begging for something from someone, or finding from some garbage bin, like something for their livelihood. Scrounging for gold in the garbage dumps of my neighborhood. Sahib left his home long ago, set amidst the green fields of Dhaka, which shows that Sahib is hailing from Dhaka. Originally, he is from Dhaka. His home is not even a distant memory. Means he recently left his home and came to author's neighborhood. There were many storms that swept away their fields and homes. His mother tells him. That is why they left, looking for gold in the big city where he now lives. In this paragraph, the gold does not mean that the real gold. They're actually looking for the opportunity for their livelihood in the big city, because their home, their fields has been destroyed by the storms, or by the hurricanes, or by the cyclone. As we every day hear, recently we saw few cyclones like Yash, like Amphan, that has created destructions in many parts of India. So in the similar way, it could have taken place like a particular cyclone has destroyed their field, their home, and made them homeless, jobless. So they shifted from Dhaka to this place for their livelihood. Okay, so that is why they left and looking for gold in the big city where he now lives. I have nothing else to do, he mutters, looking away. Go to school. This dialogue is being it took place between the author and the Sahib, the boy who the rag picker. Go to school. I say glibly, that is skillfully, smartly, realizing immediately how hollow the advice must sound, because he is a rag picker. He is not earning so much that he can afford his education, because he is doing the rag picking to support the livelihood of his family, because they have migrated from Dhaka in search of job opportunity for their livelihood in the big cities, that is denoted as a gold. There is no school in my neighborhood. In reply to that, why don't you go to school? In reply to that, Sahib has replied that there is no school in my neighborhood. When they built one, I will go. If he says that if there is a school being built by anyone or by the government, he will definitely go to school, which shows that Sahib is willing to get education, to willing to go to school. If I start a school, will you come? The author is asking Sahib that if I start a school, will you come? And on that, Sahib reply with a smiling gesture that definitely he will go, which shows that I ask half jokingly. Yes, he says, smiling broadly. A few days later, I see him running up to me. Is your school ready? This shows how much Sahib is interested in education, in going to school. It takes longer to build a school. I say, embarrassed at having made a promise that was not meant. In this line, the author was embarrassed because he never meant to or never have an intention to build a school for anyone. He just asked jokingly that we generally used to do. If I do that, will you, like enough with our friends, we used to say, okay, guys, if I do that, will you give me 100 rupees? It's something like that. He made false promises, you can say, to nurture the mind of Sahib. But promises like mine abound in every exist. Abound meaning is exist in every corner of this bleak world, that hopeful world. After a month of knowing him, I asked him his name. He answered Sahib A Alam, which means the Lord of Universe. Without knowing the meaning of his name, he will not believe that because of its hard time, but that he is the Lord of the universe. Unaware of what his name represents, he roams the street with his friend, an army of barefoot boys, who appear like morning birds and disappear at the noon. Over the month, I have come to recognize each of them. Why aren't you wearing chappals? I asked them. Who asked them? The author asked them. My mother did not bring them down from the shelf, he answered. Who answered this? The Sahib. Even if she did, he will throw them off. One of his friend said that he will not be wearing the chappals because it is their habit of not wearing the chappals and walking barefooted. It shows the marvelous, the stringent state of poverty that exists in India. I remember a story. Who remember a story? The author is talking about a story. A man from Udupi once told me as a young boy he would go to school past an old temple where his father was a priest. He would stop briefly at the temple and pray for a pair of shoes. 30 years later, I visited his town, the temple, which was now drowned in the air of dissolution, which means sadness. It does not exist anymore. In the backyard where lived the new priest, there were red and white plastic chair. A young boy dressed in grey uniform wearing socks and shoes arrived panting. Panting means breathing quickly, and threw his school bag on a folding bed. Looking at the boy, I remembered the prayer that was made by that another boy who made that I wish I could get a shoes to the goddesses. When he had finally got a pair of shoes, let me never lose them. The goddesses had granted his prayer. Young boy, like the son of the priest, now wore shoes, but many other boys, like Sahib, the rag pickers in his neighborhood, remained shoeless. Till here, kindly write down the notes which will help you out in solving the question answer. So write, first of all, write the chapter's name, Lost Spring. And even if you find that I'm dictating in speed, so just pause the video and write it down. Okay. And I would like to say that I am taking personal tuitions at my home. If anybody is interested in taking personal tuition at my home, so kindly contact me, give me a message, I will contact you. Okay, now write note number 1. Okay, note number 1. In the first paragraph, we come to know that Sahib is from Dhaka and his home and field has been swept away by storms. In bracket you write cyclone. The author asks Sahib, why don't you go to school? On that, there is no school in my neighborhood. This was the answer given by Sahib. Now note 2. On the previous discussion, Sahib say, if you make a school for me, I will definitely come. He is anxious to go to school, which shows in the line that I see him running, in inverted comma you write, I see him running up to me. Is your school ready? On that, the poet is feeling embarrassed because he made some promises that are not going to be fulfilled. Note 3. After few In note 3 you write, the author asks the boy, what's your name? He said Sahib A Alam, which means the Lord of Universe. The author thinks that if the boy knows the actual meaning, then he will not believe it. Why? Because Lord of the Universe, and he is a rag picker with barefooted. On seeing barefooted boys, the author asks, why aren't you wearing chappals? Sahib said that my mother is not taking them down from the shelf. On that, another boy said that even if he will get the shoes from the shelf, he will not wear. The another asked that I will wear definitely. I don't want to be in barefooted. In note 4, kindly write, this remind the author about a man from Udupi who used to go to school passing an old temple in which his father was a priest. He every day make a wish prayer for a pair of shoes. The author visited that town and temple 30 years, which is now drowned in air of sadness. In the backyard of the temple, a new priest has taken over, where he saw a red and white plastic chair. A young boy dressed in school grey uniform, wearing socks and shoes, arrived breathlessly and threw his bag on the bed. Looking at the boy, the author remember about the prayer of that initial boy, that another boy who was asking for a pair of shoes every day. When he finally got a pair of shoes, he again made a prayer that he do not want to lose them. The goddesses granted his prayer. He compared this situation with the young boy which he saw of throwing the bag on the bed. He was the son of the new priest, and compare him with the rag pickers of his neighborhood who are shoeless. This is a satirical situation of the society divided in two parts. Ones who do not have that much of affordness to buy a shoes, and on the other hand, a boy is wearing a shoe, or a contrast to that, a boy is praying for a shoe. Well, I end my lesson here. If you like it, do let me know. If you want to improve anything, then also you do let me know. Kindly go through this up to the chapter which we have covered today, and try to solve at least one question relating to the chapter up to this, and do let me know. Okay guys, thank you very much. Please subscribe, share as much as you can if you feel that it is worth subscribing and sharing. Thank you very much. This is your English teacher taking your leave, signing off. Have a good night and study well.